Yeah, hello. Thank you once again. Thank you for joining us again today. Thank you so much. If you are connected, type connected. Let me know the number of people that are available. If you are connected, type connected. If you are connected, type connected. Let's see those who are currently online. If you are connected, type connected. Today we'll be looking at something very interesting. We'll be facing the front end today. In our front end class, we want to take a look at Bootstrap, which is our framework, HTML framework for creating web pages. We'll be looking at Bootstrap. So head on to Bootstrap. Let's go download Bootstrap version 4. Bootstrap 4 download. Go and browse for Bootstrap version 4. Bootstrap version 4. Check your download. Let's look for Bootstrap version 4 download. I'll probably share the link in the chat box. Check the chat box. I'm sharing a link there. So we go to Bootstrap. Let's go to Bootstrap and download Bootstrap 4. So if you follow the URL that I just shared with you, so you go to Bootstrap, you see get Bootstrap, and then from there look for the download button by the right. You should see a download button. So look for the download button and then click download. Bootstrap 4, click download. So click on download and download Bootstrap 4. That should run. After it has been downloaded, go to the folder where you have downloaded it. Go to the folder where the Bootstrap have been downloaded. We need to extract it. Extract the content of the folder. Go to the folder where it is downloaded. So I go to downloads and I go to Bootstrap 4. You go to Bootstrap 4 on your system. After you have downloaded it, open the folder and then go to the dist, that is dist directory. So in your Bootstrap folder, you should have something like in your downloads, say I'm gonna share from here. Let's go back to this directly so that I can show us on our code. So we'll go back to Bootstrap. So we go back to Bootstrap and say in your downloads folder, extract the zip folder, that is bootstrap.zip folder. We need to extract it. If we go back to download, that should be something like Bootstrap 4.0.0. So Bootstrap the 4.0.0.zip. So extract the folder. After extracting it, then go to you will now have a folder, or a directory in your download folder. And inside the download folder, go to inside the folder you should see dist folder, and inside the dist folder there will be other two folders there. There will be other two folders inside the dist folder. So you will see CSS folder, and then you will see a JS folder in your zipped folder. Now, so once you have done that, copy the contents and take it to your web folder in the project that we are already working on. So we copy it and take it into our web folder. So copy what you have in the Bootstrap 4.0 folder. In the dist folder, there will be two folders, which is which are the dist and CSS folder. Copy the two folders and take it into your project folder that we have. In our project folder, we have a Bootstrap folder, Bootcamp folder, and in the Bootcamp we have a web folder. So inside the web folder, we're just gonna drop the two folders there. So we're just gonna have the two folders in our web folder. Move the two Bootstrap folders to a web folder. If you open the two folders, you will see there are so many CSS. Let's just take the Bootstrap, the bootstrap.min, the one that has the main folder. So if you have done that, you are likely supposed to go to your web folder, go to the web folder and drop the CSS and JS folders. Now, once you have done that, we should have a path. That looks like what I have here. We should have a path that looks like this inside our web folder, like mine. If you look at your web folder like mine, you should be able to see the web folder. Inside the web folder, we have the CSS folder, we have the JS folder. If you open the CSS folder, you will see there are a lot of folders here. We have a Bootstrap main.css. So we just take the main.css, and so we will start and go to probably our HTML document. Let's look at our index document. In the index document, we have no CSS here. We have no CSS. The CSS we have, probably they were just like inline CSS. But your index.html, there is no CSS. So we need to apply the CSS like I told us. So we put a link here. Then we have to put, for the link, we have to put the path to where our CSS is. We have to put a path to where our CSS is. We have to put a path to where our CSS is. So that's just a way to move forward. So we have a link, and then we have the href, which should point to our CSS, then slash bootstrap.min.css. So that will be our CSS. So to apply CSS to a particular page, we need to reference, the source of the CSS 5. There is another attribute that we can just add, which is rel, which tells us the type of link that we have. And this type of link we are saying that is a what? It's a style sheet. The link is a style sheet. So once we have this, we have already brought everything in our Bootstrap to the our project. So for every page where we need to use the CSS framework, we need to add link in the header tag. We need to add link in the header tag. So having done that, there is next thing that we need to do. We also need to install a very simple HTTP server. We need to install a very simple HTTP server. So here it is called a simple HTTP server. I believe that you have Node.js installed on your system. If you don't have it installed, you need to install Node.js. So install Node.js. You can just check whether you have npm and Node.js installed on your system. So we go to the terminal, and then we try to install the HTTP or terminal, our web server. So go back to the terminal. Let's check whether Node is installed. Just type Node to check that Node is installed on your system. So once you're able to confirm that Node is installed, then it means that npm is also installed on your system. So when you type npm and you have an instruction on how to use npm, it means that npm is installed on your system. Now we are going to install the web server. It's just to it's a simple web server to just run static web pages like HTML and things like that. So let's take a look at that. We npm install. We want to make it available globally within the system, so that we don't install this web server every time to time. So that's why we are going to use that G command. G means global. G means install global, so that anytime I open the console or I open the terminal command line, I should be able to invoke the web server again. So npm, run npm install -g http simple http server. npm install -g simple http server. So this should be running. So if you are running on Windows, you might want to use. If you are running on Windows, you might want to run your command line as an administrator. To start a command line as an administrator, so that you can have access to write. But if you are on Linux or Mac, you just need to use a sudo command, sudo I'll just put sudo in front of the npm sudo, and once you do that, ask for password. So it runs it and gets it installed. So if it is installed, you should see that HTTP simple server is installed. HTTP simple server is installed. So if you are not on the web folder where we'll be working from, you need to change directly to the web folder, which means that your bootcamp /web folder, you just change directly to the web folder, cd bootcamp. I'm sure we were working from the edu folder before. We were working in the edu folder before, which is something like this. So if you are in edu folder, you need to do cd dot dots. Cd dot dots. If you're in the edu folder currently, do cd dot dots, and then you cannot do cd web to take you inside the web folder. And so once that is done, we know that we are inside the web folder. Then we start our HTTP server. Just run simple HTTP server inside the folder, and that should start. So it says that it's listening at port 8000, which means that our server is listening at port 8000, which means that if we open our browser again, and type port 1000, that is lookout 1000, like I need to change to the browser, and we go back to our pros and say http 127.0.0, then port 8000. Well, this is for you can use localhost. Instead of 127.0.0, but in this context I'm using the port 8000. I think that should be serving our web. Let me check again. 8000. So localhost 8123. Yeah, that brings us with what that is the index page. This is what is in the index page. This is what we have at the index page. This is what we have at the index page. This is what we have at the index page. This is what we have at the index page. If you have been, if you have been following, we have this at the index page. So now, if you get it up to this point, you just you can just type on this chat box, type ready. If you have been able to install your own web server and is running, you can type ready. Type ready in a chat box. Type ready if you have not been able to, and if you haven't, you can type if you have experiencing any challenge. Good. So we have our web server running. So we can go to the Bootstrap proper. Let's go to the Bootstrap proper. So I'll switch back. However, what we'll be doing, is that we'll write small code, we'll check it on the web page, and see how it is coming along. Let's quickly take a look at Bootstrap fundamentals. Bootstrap fundamentals. Now, Bootstrap is you can see that we were writing some tags, and we're writing HTML for those tags. You see how our button looks like when we were writing those stuff. However, as our project or our pages continue to increase, the whole thing may become too much. It might become unmanageable or laborious, to do. So we have a library of CSS that have been built and tested over time that can help us to quickly, design web pages. And if you look at it, our current page, index page, Coding Bootcamp 0 to Hero Day 11, Code Hero Journey, doesn't look like what we have. Exactly, it doesn't look like the YouTube page that we have, but we can begin to, because we want to mimic, what is on the, Bootstrap page, so we can use this Bootstrap to design the page, the YouTube page, the way it looks like. Now, so these are what I think we should start taking a look at. First is that Bootstrap looks at a page or a screen. A screen is divided into about 12 columns. Bootstrap divides screen to 12 columns. Bootstrap divides screen to 12 columns. 12 columns. Bootstrap divides screen to 12 columns. So we have a screen divided into 12 columns. And then we'll now have rows. We'll now have rows. So screen is divided into 12 columns. So now, and this column could be, you could have a column 1 to 12. You could have column 1 up to column 12. Column 12. And then you can just make it like 2 columns, which means that you have, for example, if you want to divide the screen to two vertical side, then we can say, okay, the first part takes 6 columns and the other part takes 6 columns. The other part takes 6 columns. So we will try and take a look at that. Let's go back to our index page. In our index, we already have this. Now, the CSS is applied to different tags, but for the screen itself, we can oftentimes make use of the div tag. The div tag, we have not really used div tag before, so we are going to put all our components inside the div tag in the body. So in the body, we can have the div tag. We can have div tag, and then put everything in the div tag. So we are here in the div tag. Here, even with this, if we go back to the front end, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. But let's try and look at it. Currently, if you look at our YouTube page, the current YouTube screen that we are looking at, we look at it that if you divide everything equally, it looks like the screen is divided into 3 columns. The first 2 columns for the video and the other 2 columns for the chat box. So if If we want to divide into two parts that are not equal, taking a look at this, and we know that the screen is divided into 12 columns. How many columns do you think the video section should have? How many columns should the chat box have? Please type your answer in the chat box. Let's do that, let's do that, let's do that. If the screen layout is 12 columns and this very YouTube watch page, we want to divide it into two columns, where the first column is that of the video and the second column is that of the chat box. How do we do that? 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 Can we quickly post our answer in the chat box? Post your answer in the chat box. Video column 8, chat box 2. Video column 8, chat box 4. Yes, the first answer is wrong. We can take a look at it together. The chart is 4. Now let's look at it. We can do that. We can make the chart 4 and make the video column video column 8. That works. We can start with that actually. But for my own answer, I think for my own answer it will be, I will use 9.3. I will use 9.3 column 9, and then the second chart I will say 3. So let's see which one works better. Let's see which one works better. So let's start with this. So we have a div, and to divide a div by a column, it means that we are going to have one div. Okay, so let's go back. So here we have that we have a column that is 6. Column could be 6, column could be 3, column could be 3, column could be 1, then column could be what? Could be 4, column could be 12 itself, right? Column could be 12. So however, the parents column or the layout, we Bootstrap call it container, which means that it divides a screen. Take a string as a container, so which means that we can have a class called container, and inside the container then we cannot divide the container to the number of columns that we want. All right, so we can have an outward div, which is the container, which has a class container, and then we have two div, which represents the division. So we have div called 8, column 8, and then we have another div column what? Column 4, as we have suggested. So we have these two divs. We have the container, which is the one that contains the whole, and then we have the columns divisions. So let's go back to the index page. So we'll take the div we have here and say class equals to container. Now, and then we'll create two divs. We'll create two div. This is the first div. Div, and we'll say class equals to say column 8, right? And then we have another div. The class equals to column 4. and then we close that too. So we have two columns. So we have two columns here. One is 8, one is this. So this is what we are going to do. Here we are just going to type video. For the second one, we are just going to type chat. We are going to replace that later, but let us see what we have. Let's see what we have here. We will save it, and then we'll go back to our web page to check. We'll go back to our web page to check what we have. Let's go back to our web page to see what we have. So we have this. I'll take this out of the div. So so we'll go back and refresh. Where are we? Let's refresh your page after you have done that. Refresh your page after you have done that. Refresh your page and see whether we see the same column. Are we there? Let's see whether we have the same column. Okay, let's see, display, our Google Chrome. Yeah, so if we refresh this, you will see the division. You will see the division. Now something seems off. It doesn't look like what we want particularly, even though it's divided. So what do we do is that the component division, this is column, but we need to ensure that this column is within the row tag. That is, so we are dividing a row of a column. So we can have multiple rows in a container. Let me go back to the source code. So here we have from the explanation here, we have container, and then inside the container you have rows. You have row, there can be multiple rows and things like that. Then inside the row, then you have what? You have the column. You have the column inside the row. So a row is divided into columns. A container contains multiple rows. A row contains multiple, or singular columns. So if we do that and come back to our index, we have the container. So we have another div class, say div class equals to row. Div class equals to row, and then we can bring these ones inside our row. So so we have this So we have the container, the class, which has the container. That's the outermost div. The outermost div contains the container, and then inside the div we have the row. Then we can duplicate this by having multiple rows. Let's say we are starting with a single row, and then for the first row, we are divided into two columns, one for video and the other for charts. One for video and the other for charts. So if we go back to our web page and refresh, we should be able to see the division correctly now. So we should be able to see our division correctly. So we'll see the 4 parts, and then we'll see where the chart is. Another thing, okay, let's just say we want to add border here. I'll just say let's add border. Say border, and then and say line is solid. We just want to use that. And say 1px. Let's just use that to put a border around it. Now, now that we have this, we can refresh again to see what we have. So we will see a border around what we have. So we have the container, we have the video, we have the charts. I think 8.4 was actually good. Let me see. Move it to this side. So the 8.4 division actually works well. The 8.4 division actually works well. 8.4 division actually work well. So that is how we can just say. And then your columns, even though we have columns, let's go back to the code. Let's go back to the code so I can follow you. Okay, I hope you're able to see my page. If you're able to see the page, just say seen. If you're able to see the page and the modification we have done. So if you look at this page, if you look at the current page, we have the video section, and then we have the chat box section, and the chat box goes down like that, and the video section goes down like that. So we can treat the video section as another part by itself. Maybe under the video section now we can put another. So let's work with the video. Let's work with the video section, and then say that okay, this video we want it to have. If you take a look at this, you will realize that it also contains some other content. It looks like the page is divided into 2 columns, and then content are rendered under those 2 columns. Content are rendered under those 2 columns, as you can see. So what do we do in this context? Is that let's try and divide this. Let's say that decoding this is a row, and then there is another row that contains the name and some buttons, and then there is another row that contains the watch time. So if we want to do that inside the video, let's create 4 rows. One for the video itself, the second one, which means the video title, and the third layer that contains the buttons, and the fourth layer that contains the details. So if we are going to do that, we just say that inside the video section, let's say we divide it into 3 rows. So let's say we have div class equals to row, div class equals to row, and then we end it. So in this row, we are going to make it 3. So the first row will be the video. So the first row is the video. So just one column. So we just say div class equals to, because the video is the only content in the first row, so we can make the column to be 12. That is, if the column is 12, we are saying that the full column, that's for the first row. For the second row, the same thing. For the second row is the same thing. We have only one text there. And for the third row, we have like image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's say we have 7 buttons, so we can divide it to maybe 2 sides, the left hand side and the right hand side. So we can divide the third one. Let's divide the third one into 2. We are going to divide the third one into 2. So the first one is video. The next one is the one that contains the title. We already have title somewhere, so I will just copy it. Let's copy the title and put it for the title. Okay. So we have divided into one row. We have one row which is divided into 2 columns. So the first column has the video. And the second column has the chat box. Now, in the first row that contains the video, we are also divided into additional 4 rows. Row 1 contains the video, row 2 contains the title, row 3 contains the buttons. 1, 2, 3 contains the buttons, and we are saying that the buttons is divided into 2 columns. There are some buttons in the left and there are some buttons in the right. So I'll just make them 6, 6 to make them equal half. So let's just put something like this. Say left button, and then the second one right buttons. Okay, so the last row contains one item. In fact, so let's just pick from the one that has one item. So the last row contains one item, and that item is the number of people watching now, for watching now, like that. So we are just going to take everything that we have here and put it in the last row. So let's do it that way. So which means that we have divided this. Into two columns, and the first column we are dividing into 5 rows, and each of those rows contains those items. So if we refresh again, if we do that and refresh again, we should have all those stuff we are talking about. So let's take a look at it. Let's go and refresh our browser. I'll try to make this class short so that you have something to review when we come back. So just refresh. You should see that now we have our Bootcamp. If it's not showing well, just refresh the screen. So refresh your screen, you should be able to see what I'm seeing now. You see that we have the video section, and then we have the charts section, right? And well, our title is looking too big. It's not looking as big as the one that YouTube has itself. So we can reduce it and make it instead of H1, we can probably make it like H2 or H3. We can make it look like H2. Let's try H2. H2 is still big, so we can just say H3. And refresh. So this looks much reduced, much more reduced. But the video, let's just put a dummy stuff there. In the video, we can put a tag there. Let's see. So from our source code, where we put video placeholder, we can actually put actual video tag. There is a tag called video, and then for the video, src is the source of the video. Video src equals to this, and then that's it for video. And then we can say the source. The source of the video could be anywhere on the internet. So video. The source could be anywhere on the internet. Could be video that is saved on your disk and things like that. Let's see whether we can even find a video on internet, or why not Baba-Festi's videos, one of the videos. We can just put one of the Baba-Festi's videos on here. All you need to do is to just copy the video link say from YouTube. Let's see, on the video address bar, we can just copy one. Let's see I think I found one. Let's see whether I found one. Let's see. Am I having this? Or we can copy the present, even the present videos. We can copy it. I'm trying to get a video for us to put there. Let's see. Baba-Festi's videos. Okay, I think I found one. And what's the URL of this one? So we'll copy the URL of this one, and then the video SRC tag. I put this. That should be able to give us YouTube video. Let's see that. Let's see that. I'm going to check now. Let's see. The video tag. Video tag. Okay, let's say we have this SRC. I'm going to use okay, let's set the width to something. Say the width is 100%. I should give us the video tag, but it's not rendering, so we'll come back to that. I think it has something called autoplay. Control autoplay. Let's see. Let's see with autoplay. I'm going to back to Chrome, and we get to the Chrome. Then we should have the part for the video, and the chat box is still empty, and chat box is still empty. So we have the title, we have the button panel, we have the button panel, so we can just create those buttons. If you go back to the source code, let's go back to the source code. Let's go back to the source code. So we have we need to create the buttons, but then I just want to put the video tag here. I think let me move this one. let's pull this, say maybe call it source HTML5 source, and then src is this. Let's close this like this, and then say type equals to videos dash maybe mp4. mp3 is for sound for my document. Okay, so we have that. We have that. So let's create the play equals to true, whatever. So for the left buttons, for our left buttons, we have subscribe buttons. We have subscribe button. So we can just say for the left button, let's say we have a button. A button has a class. Button class equals to button say subscribed. Say subscribe, and then we have other buttons and the right buttons. So let's say we have button shared and clip. So we will look at make use of icons in our next class. Say share, and then we have another one called clip. So that's for the buttons. That's for the buttons. So I'll just try and summarize this, what we have done so far. So I don't want to bug us. We will continue next class. I think let's end this on 60 minutes. So for Bootstrap, we have for Bootstrap, a Bootstrap contains of classes for page layout. We'll be dealing with contents next class. Page layout, and for the page layout, we have container. We have container. We have rows. We have for the page layout, we have container, we have row, and then we have a column. And I told us that the columns is divided into the screen, which is the container, is divided into 12 columns. And each container, or within a container, you can have multiple rows. You can have multiple rows. You have the container, which is the outermost. You have the row, which is the one that divide horizontally, and then you have the columns, the one that divide vertically. And so you can collapse all the 12 columns into one to have a 12 column. You can also collapse them, to to be of two columns, that is dividing the screen into two. So whichever way you use will surely also work work for you. Will also work for you. So let's put it that way. 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 Okay, so we have what we have the page layout, which contains the container, and from the container we have rows, and the rows can be divided into columns. Next class we'll be looking at controls, that is input controls, and the content for Bootstrap. If you have any question, if it's not clear, I think you should post your question now. Otherwise, we close for now. Any question? Type your question. And if you don't have the question, so for the code you will have the body, and then we have the container, and then from the container we divide it into rows. We first divide it into row 8 and row 4, where the other one represents the chat box, and then the first part represents the video and the video metadata. So that's what we have for this. And then of course we can begin to have other stuff like button color. We can also have we have multiple classes, something like you can have say button SM. I will explain all those ones. For your page to be, to adapt to various screens, or be mobile ready, the Bootstrap CSS comes with all those CSS stuff. So in your layout, you can actually say whether your layout is for a big screen or a small screen. When you use SM means small screen. When you use XL is like big screen, But when you just put the class without the SM or so, you are saying that you have a default screen. So we can look at how we can make all this to fit into various screen in our next class. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? So we can also look at, once we have that, maybe I'll put this one in, say div. There's also a class called panel, which acts as a container. You can also have a panel class which acts as a container. So all right, so if there is no further question, we end the class here today. If there is no further question, we end the class here. Okay, great. So thank you, and see you again in the next class.